My husband is embarrassed about my culture and took off the symbol of our marriage because he thought it looked unprofessional. Now he can't accept that it means we are divorced. I'm from a small village and moved to the US 5 years ago. That's important because, in such a short amount of time, I'm not fully assimilated into American culture, and I'm still very involved in mine. When I met my husband, a few weeks into our dating, he told me he was going to marry me as a joke. But I told him how marriage works in my culture, and he praised how beautiful it was. Fast forward to now, we agreed on doing 2 weddings, one in my culture and the other an American wedding. In my village, when you get married, both spouses get a gold bangle. It's like a wedding ring. There's a ceremony and a party for that as well. The bangle is molded on your wrist and can't come off unless you use something like a saw. During my traditional wedding, I received a gift of these fruits that I loved back home and hadn't been able to find in the US. My husband joked that he was not looking forward to smelling that every day, which was fine, because I hate the smell of sausage, but it's something he loves. I stayed back home for a week because I had missed it, and my husband came home early to prepare for the American wedding. I came home on Monday, but I didn't see my husband since he had work. By the time he finished, I was sleeping. We had dinner last night, and I saw that he didn't have his bangle. He told me he thought it was just for the party. I explained to him again how important it is to me, and he said that I couldn't seriously expect him to wear it all the time. I asked him why not, and he told me it made him look unprofessional. I got upset with him and left. He ended up calling me to explain that it holds no cultural significance to him. So I told him I could not wear a wedding ring either, as it holds no cultural significance to me. He got a bit upset and gave me a lecture on how if we were in my country he'd wear it. I feel so turned off and uninterested in this relationship that I am thinking of calling off the wedding. Edit, he did know he would have to wear it permanently. We talked about this in the early stages of our dating and several times leading up to now, when family members got married and when he proposed. Also, he works from home with occasional in-person meetings. Update, I ended up texting him that morning, saying I was ready to talk, and he came to my hotel a few minutes later. I explained to him how I felt about him cutting off his bangle without talking to me, especially after he told me he would wear it. I don't remember if I explained this earlier, but in my culture, parents cut off pieces of theirs to mold together for their children. This bangle was reshaped for my husband, so it's generations of family heritage that got passed down to me, now destroyed. I explained that if I knew he didn't plan to wear it, we could have bought new gold instead of using mine, so I could keep it intact and be able to give it to my children. We could have also made one that could be taken off if he'd told me that there was no way he'd ever wear it on any occasion. Then, we could have gone our separate ways. He apologized and explained that he didn't think he would have to wear it every day. When I reminded him that he knew this for years, and also reminded him of the countless times I reassured him it was fine if he didn't want to wear it, and yet he told me he would, I'd like to note here that he got to design his bangle. We made it really thin and small so he could wear his watches, and it wouldn't show. I asked him to show me the bangle, so we ended up going to his house. I don't know if the person he went to was bad at his job or what, but they literally melted it. It was cut into several different pieces, so my original design is completely ruined. It probably doesn't make sense to you guys, but that is really upsetting to me. I even entertained the idea that maybe he was teased or something, but he assured me it wasn't that and he just didn't think it was that serious. I explained that he was basically divorcing me and he said I didn't have to wear mine either. He got angry with me and kept insisting I was making a big deal out of nothing. I explained how, aside from the bangle, he lied to me about something for 4 years and then undermined me right after we got married. He failed to communicate something so important to me and doesn't see how hurtful that is. He ended up going on a tangent about how unprofessional it looks. I reminded him that he's been in the same job this whole time, something he never mentioned before, and that he works from home with only semi-annual in-person meetings, where it wouldn't even be visible. There was a lot of back and forth. He got angry with me and kept insisting I was making a big deal out of nothing. I ended up taking an Uber home. Later that day I went and got my own bangle removed. I returned it to him along with his ring and took my family's bangle with me. I called my parents to see if they can make me another one. It's not the same because I've had mine my whole life. My dad called my husband and wanted an explanation. I guess the conversation didn't go well because my father immediately began mourning my marriage with my mother and agreed to send me a new bangle. I told my husband I wanted to pause the American wedding. After trying to change my mind, he eventually gave in because I wanted to talk more about what other things he thinks aren't serious. I left to come back to my house. I live in a different state, only 4 to 5 hours away by car. He was supposed to take me, but he didn't respond to my texts the night before. Since I needed to be home for work, I called his friend. He couldn't reach him either, so he ended up buying me a ticket home and drove me to the airport. The next day my husband drove to my house. He kept apologizing for everything and told me he would rewear it and try to get it fixed. But honestly, all of the designs are ruined, and if he wore it now, it wouldn't change the fact that I know how he truly feels about it, so I can't even enjoy it anymore. I had a list of things we talked about in the past and agreed to, and I just wanted to revisit them. I asked for full honesty, and we ended up taking some things off that he had previously agreed to but admitted to not fully agreeing to. This didn't make me feel better, as I had hoped, and now I'm rethinking our whole relationship as if everything else has been a lie. He has insisted that he's not going back home until we fix this, but I'm not optimistic. I feel I've said everything I needed to say, and now I have nothing else to add. He's staying at a hotel nearby, and has been coming over every day to talk, but he's not really saying anything new and keeps repeating the same points. My dad posted pictures of me with my old bangle, implying that I was single. He has also been sending me numbers of men he wants me to talk to. I have removed pictures of my traditional wedding from all of my social media,